Shalom and good day all. This is Tehilin29 back again as we're ready for our Super Sons Fortress of Attitude live stream.
Woo!
And with me I have Tevya Smolka and Comic Room.
How's it going? Good to be here.
Yep, good to be here.
So a big thanks to anyone who makes it here, and also a big thanks to the creators who played a part to the making of the Super Sons. This is also a way to thank and honor them for their contribution to the comic world. Today we are going to cover the trial of the Super Son, which covers issues Superman Rebirth 7 to 13.
Mm-hmm.
So any
in the trade, right? Issue 13 is in the trade.
yes.
Yeah, because I don't have the trade. I'm reading the individual comic books, so I always got to double check.
I'm
We're fine with that.
in the trade. So, issue 7.
We might as well.
Yep.
So issue 7.
The kind thing.
Awesome cover.
That is my only favorite cover at the in Superman family.
Let me just show that to who's watching.
Here we go.
Really cool.
That is not to be confused with Bat Cow. That is not.
Back out.
That is Uncle Cobb. That's Kathy, John Kent's friend Kathy, her Uncle Cobb. That's their cow on their farm. That wins that's in the contest at the fair that they're at in this issue. So that's not Bat Cow.
Well, yeah. Like, yeah. Like, I love the cover. The cover's so adorable.
Well,
Would you have anything to show, Tevye?
Yeah. I own the trade. Conducting all the issues in general. Issue 1 to 13.
Someone enjoys their hardcovers.
I do want trade paperback in my room, but and then I have the hardcover collection everything. And well, what to say? Issue 7 is my favorite issue, and well, it's a great story. Should we recap the story itself?
Yep, we might as well start.
Yep.
Hey, welcome, Dragon Majesty. Thanks for making it. And anyone else who might be here.
Hello, Dragon Majesty. Yep. Basically, issue 7 took place after issue 6 and 4, when John John Lord and Superman beat the Eradicator, and Superman at the end up in space, trying to take all these catastrophe. Like you see Justice League, you see Flash, Wonder Woman, Batman, and there's one point on Batman said, "I need your help," and Superman said, "I need help." Anyway, it's so funny. And Superman said, "My city is streets, and there's nobody at their home." And you speed all the way home and to your family. Yep. And Colin, you want to get left off?
Well, my general comments on issue 7 is that this is probably one of the best Super Son stories that is a self-contained story that is out there. It's one of the best, bar none.
Yeah.
And the art is fantastic. Jose Jimenez, his art is fantastic. This still took place at the time when Lois and Clark went by Lois and Clark Smith. This is before.
Yeah.
This is still during a period of time when the New 52 Superman was dead. So there's still the old, there's still the convergence couple, really, Lois and Clark Smith, and the whole issue is them essentially going to one of the last Hamilton town fairs, and it's absolutely it's wonderful, because what I love about this story is that we have a young John Kent. He's still learning his powers. They're still developing, and they're emotional. They're tied to his emotions. So every time John Kent has an emotional outburst, one of his new powers will manifest, and he's still just a kid.
Yep.
And it's this story is such a heartfelt story. They end up at the fair. They end up, of course,
with Cappy.
Yeah, they end up stopping a robbery, and they end up having a lot of fun too. And again, this is such a great story that and I really love the whole Kathy ends up being at the fair. In fact, she's nobody. Maya, I love the appearance by Maya, who came right out of the storyline of the DCU Robin series.
DCU
Batman, right? So Maya, who was nobody, ends up in here, and she meets him, and it's just a wonderful story.
Yeah. Like issue 7 my favorite story for I love the story because Holy Man arguing John looks so cute and it's adorable, like it's so cute. And the situation I think like big lava without using powers. Okay, using powers, but actually that is funny. Like when it's it's like Con Candy at the Con Candy and the left. It's so cute. Like you know Tomoshi, I know it meant the other team. They understand that these kids. They have to understand Superman. They understand a family, and they understand the Superman family dynamic. Unlike Bendis, I keep saying Bendis over and over. I hate bringing him up. I have to because Bendis does not understand Superman at all. All the stuff is going to go. What was on? Point. Don't live the Superman family and what ate up John became Regent. Why? It's why a future John has you can't be a future John in the future. You can only be try back in the past. An older John. Leave all John alone. Like just told you like a madman on Earth 3. Like the crime syndicate. Who shouldn't even exist because they should have been dead. But
well, as we all know, Bendis is living off his own continuity. He doesn't give a rat's about the rest.
No, he doesn't.
No doubt the writing is on the wall for him.
Yep.
I would just add, I would say though that the template for the relationship between Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, it really starts here. And now, having said that, Damian Wayne does not show up in issue 7. He doesn't show up at the fair, but the character of John Kent here, the young John Kent, his relationship with Kathy, and even her, Kathy at one point winks at him because she says nice glasses, and she knows that he's got a secret identity.
That's adorable.
She knows that there's something special about him, and she's keeping the secret. And so right away we got a good friendship going on. It's a good small town friendship. He's a good-natured kid. He loves the fair. There was a good, strong a good homey feeling to this story. It was a hometown and a good, strong family unit. Lois, Clark, and their son, and it was a good bonding moment between Clark and his son, and it was just
on the roller coaster, which was really good.
Up. And I said, I knew it. Or I said, I knew it. Don't worry. In the concept, I quote, like, what man? Said the ticket book that opened it up. Are you Brian and then okay? You know money? Very good. I guess it just sent out for me to step out and him up at the cop. Batman, right? Oh, it's Batman. No, he been done by right. And just I knew it. Well, the way the issue was fantastic. And like both Tomas and Patrick really wrote the story. The whole event did the art, and you can tell if both these guys did an amazing job in the story. It's heartfelt love and a great story. The next real actor is no one to know to the family and the friends at the band.
there's the final page of the story when they're
that is
on
one of the
roller coaster,
best.
they're on the roller coaster, and Lois discovers that they were in fact using their powers is actually quite good. I like that. I knew it.
It's
Quite
so
good.
funny. Yeah. I love that ending. Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, I really love the ending. It's so great, so beautiful, and it made me smile every time. Like, what's it? It's a great story. The fan of Tomasi, the fan of Holy Jimenez, and the fan of the Superman family. This it might have been a great issue to read every single day into doing that. No, issue 1 to 6 on me, but issue 7 is such a great epilogue to the whole Eradicator stuff that it's such a good story to whole. It's a great one-shot story to whole. Oh, you want to see man? We issue 1 through 6, and then go to issue 7. We'll be pretty right in.
Yeah. In fact, I think that this story is a good bookend. This one-shot story with them at the fair is a good. Goes very well with Superman issue 45, which is which was the last issue with their last day in Paris.
Yeah. Issue 45 when they go back to the fair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I love issue 45. Issue 45 might be a great story, and it breaks my heart that all that work that Tomasi and Patrick Reason did, and Holy Jimenez did, and Dan Jr. did Action Comics is all gone because they put the heart and soul into the entire series from the beginning. Not just your Action Comics as well. Dan Jr. is still Action Comics amazing. The author are awesome. The whole Booster shot amazing when Superman goes back in time with Booster Gold to find out Mr. Oz. And everything about the story with Perry. Both series were fantastic on Tomasi and Dan Jr. and even Patrick Reason. And even Holy Jimenez, right? They both told good series. And if Borderline had been at now control with both Action on Superman, which one question about that? Why? Why is Ben have control of both titles? If Ben wants to take up Action Comics, fine. Take over Action Comics. You could have let the main Superman book alone. You could have let this book entitled Tomasi and Patrick Reason and Holy Jimenez. Read this book alone. You want to take over Action Comics, fine. Take over Action Comics. Do whatever the hell you want with that series. But this book should have been left alone. Or you should have took over Batman instead. After what the hell am I saying? If Batman even after was good about it. You get my point. My point is this story is a great story, and like I said, there's a good ending to the whole Eradicator stuff, and the rest is history. Yep. Cover?
Yeah. Well, seeing we're now finished covering issue 7, we're now going to cover the next arc that came after that.
Dinosaur Island.
Dinosaur Island, or Escape from Dinosaur Island.
Yep.
And this was actually really good of how Peter J. Tomasi worked this story in with a little bit of history. And he was able to use what happened in this story because it's also connected to a bit of a project to which John Samuel Kent has to work for school. And what happens in the project? Something goes wrong.
Yep.
Well, and it also deals with it pays tribute to Darwin Cook's New Frontier because it deals with the losers because they're on Dinosaur Island. And if you've never read the New Frontier, I would encourage that you read it because the New Frontier is a fantastic, epic story told by Darwin Cook. And in that story, these group of World War II soldiers called the losers end up dying, giving their lives, fighting a massive menace on Dinosaur Island, and it's those people that are on Dinosaur Island that Superman and John Kent end up running into, in the form of Captain Storm, who's the sole survivor.
Yep. And fun about the Losers. The Losers are actually an old group for deep cut, very deep cut. I think by 1940s. I think I know they made a movie about the losers. A lot of movies in a Mountain, and that movie wasn't bad. I just liked the movie for what it was. An okay movie, not perfect, but it was kind of fun in my opinion. But it's like I said, this movie does picture to do New Frontier. I seen the anime movie. The anime movie, A New Frontier, was good. I do like the anime movie, despite I think it flaws. But you are right. This story does pay homage to Don Cook's book, called Don Cook's work, and it does pay homage to his passing. You remember Don Cook passed away during his time period, and yeah, that still hurts. Yeah, I love Don Cook. I really want to meet him someday. I never got a chance to. What's the damn thing?
Yeah, I never got to meet Darwin Cook myself. It was one of the my significant misses in my comic book history. I was never at a con where he was at, and it's really unfortunate. But yeah, it was a nice tribute to Darwin Cook, and Dinosaur Island. It was such a perfect place for young Superboy and Superman to sort of have again more father son moments. You know, I love the moment. There's a moment here where Jonathan gets all upset because one of the dinosaurs I think one of the characters eats his dog, eats Crypto, and it's it's just really nice. And there's a moment there where Superman finds the bodies, finds an old tank, and he finds the remains and bodies, and he teaches his son respect for the dead, and it's very, you learn that, you know, you can really feel that Superman, he cares about the people who gave their lives and made the sacrifice. And if you're somebody who honors those who have fought for your country and the military, this is also an issue that's very respectful of the military, and Superman's very respectful, and they pay homage and respect to it as well. And it's really a nice story, and it flows well into the subsequent issue of issue 8, where they meet Captain Storm, and they end up, you know, battling the monsters until finally escaping.
Yeah, and when you see John at the fight against Ted after in the story, it's actually kind of fun. And even when John still can fly. You can remember during the time period, John couldn't fly. He didn't want to fly yet, but he still can't hold on. That's pretty awesome. Like, you know, when you cook that, get away when the down with it, it's so cute. It's adorable. Like when someone does find out these soldiers, you know, these bodies, it's actually pretty cool to see Superman respected that, even protected their son. Pretty awesome. Like, you see what eaten by fish? It's actually funny. He's already saying the fish, but you have to get the fish like a minor heart attack, I think. But you had to let him go. It was pretty fun. It's adorable.
Well, if I want to add something more to this, Comic Boom actually covered it really well, but it's also the lessons of history that we also get in this too.
Yep.
That we see in these particular chapters or these particular issues connected to this story, because he's also teaching John the importance of history, because when we go to this island, we're seeing things that are connected directly to history.
Yeah, the OSS with spy secondary return to CIA, which is actually real fact.
Yeah,
and
so a connection to the wars.
Yeah, the World War II.
And even though that comes back later on in, say, some of the later Superman Rebirth issues, especially when they end up traveling around the country, that's fantastic. So you can see how this is also in part a foreshadowing of that which is to come. And this is just a brilliant way how Tomasi and Gleason introduced this into the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
because we also need to remember the fallen.
You see John crying and after that, they might see mom again, and Superman actually said after that quote, the way Young carries her, that's something you make me forget. You know what? At you're only 10 years old. I promise you, we're going to find this thing. We're going to get home. I'm going to get my mother. I Can you blame me? Hey, Dad. You. Okay. 44 son of the kid. This is what I want to do. Come on, like, I get touch on your leg. That's adorable. Right? That's why Otomachi and Greeton and what is it about because Tomachi understands history. He understands Superman. I like the new 52. Look, I don't know about it. The new 52 Superman, but the new 52 was a failure, and new 52 was a jerk, and did not care. Okay, he cared people, but the damage was done to the point that he can't be saved. And new 52 was just so broken, so like that no one can save him. That it took the death to bring back Archer-Man back to life. And I know that mean-spirited. I guess some people like Mr. Man. I'm sorry, people. I tried. I need my top 5 in my new video to Super failed. I put it on top of it there. Well, still okay. It decided to be on me. It took me yeah. The top of my new video to Super failed. You wish you were with a minefield of bullshit. I didn't understand. Wait, what? They did?
Hey, good to see you, Michael Brent. Glad you made it to the stream.
Sean Jabbed and the cancer also more these very crazy like animated like manga. Oh yeah, the sea anime. God damn it! What's
We'll see what happens in relation to that. Of what I've seen in relation to what's happening with the anime and manga, it looks like they could be doing it bi-weekly.
Yeah.
So they're still going to continue their work, but it's a lot of the issues connected to that will be bi-weekly.
Yeah. And the dog I've been doing, that.
But back to the topic, which is covering Dinosaur or Escape from Dinosaur Island.
Yep.
Which is Superman Rebirth with Peter J. Tomasi and Gleason.
Yep. And what about Detroit? The Dinosaur Island is white man-eater creature. We never learn who this character is or what the monster is, but apparently it's intelligent to dinosaurs. My theory is like not broad, but it's ultra humanite. But it is not ultra humanite. It had the cube in its eye, which is odd. That was Sean Jones we put on hold. Well, we're in a pandemic, so it's gonna happen anyway.
Well, with this threat, no one knows if it's actually real or imagined, so it could be either or. Even though they say it's one thing, it could also be another thing. But time will tell. It's the best judge.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, long story short, they find Hypercube and it activates obviously, but Captain Storm said we always stick together, and John and Krista they come back home, and they do it with the major squid monster with President holding Captain Stones at the leg and the cube thing. And that's overall, I hope that is a good side story. And what the fair story. Both stories are both great, in my opinion. They're both excellent, they're both great, and a ton of fun. Boom.
Are we talking about issue 9 now?
No, I think so, yeah, kind of. Well, actually, we're still on Dinosaur Island.
Yeah, moving to issue 9, and how about, as well in covering this, any favourite panels that stood out?
On issue 9?
Just in this arc alone.
My bad panel that is when John and Superman they fly out with Captain on the pterodactyl. It's kind of fun.
That was a good scene.
I love that. But honestly, my favorite panel out of all is when they go to lose grave. It's Church of Darwin Cook.
Now there's a panel in issue 9. Issue 9 I thought was a little bit better than issue 8. I love the scene in issue 9 where Captain Storm has Superman retrieve the remains of all the fallen soldiers on Dinosaur Island, and he gives them a proper burial. I
Yeah.
thought that was really nice. And there's a scene there where they're all paying their respects, and it's quite nice. And that's followed up by there's a touching moment when Superman realizes he remembers that his son's only 10 years old because Jonathan cries because he's missing his mom. Again, it's just beautiful art, beautifully drawn by again Doug Mankey.
Yeah.
Great. And just really private moments between Jonathan Kent and his dad, and even a good moment between Jonathan Kent and Captain Storm. Superman uses his heat vision to make a lake.
Yeah.
Actually, that is one of my favorite scenes that stand out in that.
Yeah. So
And
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, it's absolutely amazing because he also teaches the importance of giving to others, and yes, they're going out of their way to give Storm some help, but in the meantime, they're also going to give Storm a replacement wooden leg. And that is sort of like one of the best things that stands out in this issue, and I really love that scene.
Yeah.
But not only that, it's also a respect to those who served in war.
Yeah.
If you look at that, and that's incredible.
Yeah, I agree. Bob
Bignati, Tomato and Grayson do respect as we started to the war. This story, I feel like Tom Squire. If you've not seen him, we don't know how that's been promised. Different. It's complicated.
Well, who's ready to move on to the next small arc?
Oh yeah, that's the Frankenstein story.
The Frankenstein story.
Before we do that, there's one thing I should mention about the end of issue 9 that we were left with a mystery because Captain Storm never returned.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've not heard of another story with Captain Storm, so I think even to this day, Captain Storm is still missing, isn't he? Like,
actually, that's not entirely true. He actually did get saved. Yes. Well, kind of. Basically, it was the end of
the Superman annual.
Yes, the Superman special.
Yeah, that one. He did make a return in that one to him.
Yep.
Was that the end?
Because he had a promise to keep, if I remember.
Yep.
And I think Tomasi was the one who actually covered it.
Yeah. Tomasi and Reason covered it. Well, Jordan covered it as sponsor with that super.
Okay. I think I remember this. I'm going to see if it's in the Superman annual. I have to open it up
because it was a bit of a loose end which they needed to fix up, and it was covered in the annual before Brian Michael Bendis came in.
Yeah, before Bendis came in and messed everything up.
If you want to pick up anything of Bendis where he's got real heart, real passion in his stories, I advise you pick up some Jinx World. Don't pick up any DC at the moment that he's writing right now.
That could be fine done justice, but even that is stress. Because that book so crushed the fuck. But that place doesn't be like, what's going on? Why Cyrus here? Why? Okay, Aqualad is I'm so confused. John said
Yeah.
it's a nightmare of continuity. Anyways,
Ah, yes, nuclear man.
man. I can be very
Yeah, in the Bendis one, yes.
I think that was issue 2, I think. I don't remember. Was it issue 3? Yeah, I
We
know.
ready to move on to issue 12 and 13 before we move on to the key one, which will take us to, which will help bring us into what next week we'll be covering.
Yeah.
So,
Before we dive into I can do one more thing. That was the with the cigar. I know this guy's spoiling for that mystery actually does lead into a huge story of Black Dawn, which
hey, look who made it! Good to see you here, Brewer. Thanks for making it to the stream.
That's good. We're now watching the thing.
So we're looking at the Super Monster storyline now, right? 12.
Yeah,
that's right.
Super Monster Part 1 and 2.
Yeah,
right.
That's the one.
Super Monster. That's issue 12 and issue 13.
Yep.
All right. But guys, I mean, look, we had Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein show up. I love this. Who would have thought? I mean, the Frankenstein showing up in a Superman comic book with Damien, with John Kent. I mean, this is hilarious. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Especially with Lois Lane's looking. She's trying to get a job. She's trying to get a job at the local newspaper. She'd already gotten a job at the Daily Planet at this point, but she's also talking to the local newspaper. She talks to a girl named Candace at the local newspaper, in Hamilton County, and she ends up discovering that it's not really Candace. It's this war criminal called Krug that's an alien in disguise. And literally in the middle of, I was shocked when I read this initially. I remember being shocked because all of a sudden Frankenstein comes out of nowhere and attacks her while she's talking to this woman in an office. I mean, it was outrageous, but there was something so comical about it. And my favorite part, I got to show you this. My favorite part is Lois Lane. She used her Hellbat glove.
Yeah, Hellbat glove with the Hellbat on there, which is awesome.
That's right.
I actually kept that. I actually kept that the Hellbat glove from issue 5. It's awesome. Note to self: always borrow Batman's tech, or steal from him.
That's right. Always. Yeah. That's exactly right.
No, Batmom.
Yeah. She kept that glove. Best weapon ever. Forget guns. Use her on
there's a great scene. There's a great scene in here where that Uncle Cobb again. Uncle Cobb.
With the shotgun.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And he confronts Frankenstein, and him and Frankenstein, stare each other down. Stare each other down. And of course, Uncle Cobb could easily get his butt kicked, but he's a brave old man, and he just sits there and he confronts Frankenstein, and he says to Frankenstein, "You're a persistent creature. I'll give you that." And Frankenstein says, "As are you." But
we want to get off my red. That is so funny. That's hilarious. when we do find the twist in your attitude about this, Aaron, that would have cool like, Krog, you want cold blood murder? Here's you. Next kick on the blood, but that hilarious. You go like punch Aaron in the face in issue 15. He said, "What are you doing, my friend? You making it? Doing like your friend when she locked Saber in the basement. I did the put chair up here, all about feel like a drink small amount of blood. Yeah. So you're going in that yeah, that's funny. They even reference the Funny series from New 52. Which, I'm not read Funny 80 Shade, but I did hear that series with a ton of fun. It's kind of like Hellboy, but with Funny. Speaking of Funny, I really Junior read that story. That series is awesome. Next time I will have to say the Silver Surfer is something inspiring more compelling, yet no one knows how to write the correctly. No one knows how to write them correctly. Take Spider-Man. Oh yeah, one more day. Oh, I hate that story. That story destroyed Spider-Man for me. It broke my love for the main Peter Parker, main Peter Parker, Mary Jane.
Yes, I've heard a lot of people aren't very fond of One More Day.
It's one of the worst stories of all time.
And that's completely understandable.
Yeah, but
that is completely understandable. I've never read it. I hope I never get the chance to read it.
Yeah, and if you do read it, if you get your message one, when you do read that story, you're gonna be pissed. That story broke people in the bullshit and destroyed Spider-Man for nearly a decade. Let's not try to fix it. Brand new day having with Gordon was at the single class. There was a one moment in time. We decided it was. Say much man, dude. Oh yeah, much man did. People keep forgetting him. It's really that pissed me off. That guy started from back in Justice League, made me happy. And we're trying to take this dude. It's like fucking decade. We get it to read up man when he did too.
And how Steve Orlando handles his character. It's slightly cringy.
Yeah. Hang on.
There was one scene in this where Lois Lane pops to Frankenstein's sort of the vehicle or space vehicle, whatever it is, and
yep.
she it's that Candace is Krug, the war criminal, but I'm surprised that Krug never tried to escape while they were in that vehicle.
I think he did try to escape when his car was blown. Let's see. Where the hell is it? Ah, found it. Can you see?
The Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League America in 2012. This was seen from New 52 real time when the March Man did anti-Justice League, which is by the US government. I guess what? This group fell apart in 5 seconds. Wait, the first thing was it was very fun when New 52 was bad. And I keep saying this that I'll never deal with bullshit. Why do you have to create this new team of who said it's time? Oh wait. This team is and it's failure. Thank God Sasha fought back because Multiman is a founding member, not Cyborg. Look, I like Cyborg. Cyborg is a Teen Titan, not a Justice member. You want Cyborg on the Justice League? Fine. But first Cyborg for the Teen Titans. How many votes Teen Titans birds? Then vote on Justice League. You don't need to rush it. Ugh. I stand anything positive. But anyway, back to the story.
Well, another thing too about this story is that it's done in a antithesis.
Yeah,
So a negative as to how a relationship can be. Not so much done in a positive light, but shown how relationships can also be seen in the negative and done in the negative, and how Superman and Lois are also working on keeping their relationship as strong as possible.
Yeah, because Frankenstein and White, they're not actually a happy couple. Even they got a sad struggle couple in America. Because Frankenstein had to kill his own son because he was a monster. I don't know when that happened because again I'm not like playing Age of Shade. So I don't know crap on that one for you guys know. But it looks at it when monster well at least the wife says that I don't mess around on my heart and I killed him before you kill anybody. Is that always the favorite husband and wife? And what? Because well, there are hundreds of husband and wife, and I thought they're real the try to think about their relationship.
I was astonished when I read issue 13. I practice family law as a divorce lawyer for a living, and talk about a dysfunctional relationship between Frankenstein and his bride.
Yeah.
Good grief, these two don't get along at all. But it's the juxtaposition of the relationship of Frankenstein and his ex-wife versus Lois and Clark was very obvious. The Bride of Frankenstein was a complete bitch. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like, I don't know. She's got a bug up her chimney. I don't know what the hell. I don't know if that was ever explained or was that ever dealt with in a subsequent issue. I think that there was a quasi sequel to this issue there was a one shot. I'm not sure if it was a Valentine's Day one shot with DC Love or something like that.
I think it was. I never read it.
Yeah, but in any event, it was actually quite heartbreaking to hear that Frankenstein and his bride that they lost their son and she had to kill their son, and I wonder if she deliberately pushes Frankenstein away because she maybe feels guilty about being the one to kill their son, and maybe she doesn't feel worthy, and that's just her way of dealing with it. But I like the fact that I asked all these questions. Tomasi wrote it very well, that I actually began to care about the relationship between Frankenstein and his wife, or his ex-wife.
Yeah, same here. Frankenstein and White are very complex characters, in my opinion. They're very cool characters. They're complex, they're unique, and in my opinion, their story is quite interesting. Now, granted, I never read Frankenstein Age of Shade. I know that series, so I don't know the chemistry that much. If we're going to comment about that story, but for I can tell you, their relationship, it's not a happy story. It was a very sad, tragic, and very depressing event. But I got big of Frankenstein, kind of like Hellboy from Hellboy series, obviously from Dark Horse. And anyway, both Frankenstein and Hellboy have a lot of things in common. They're both loners. They both hunt monsters. But damn it, they also want another to have fun time. Frankenstein's wife kind of reminds me of another character in Hellboy. I forget the name of it. I say Hellboy. But hang on, let's see if find this series.
Well, one thing as well, as you can see in this storytelling, is that Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason know how to work on world building and character building.
Yep.
And you'll see that when we start to cover the next issues that are after these. Here we go. Ed Brewer is saying that I read some new 52 Shade. It wasn't bad, but a lot of haters for the new 52. And rightly so. There would have been those who disliked it, but there also would have been those who enjoyed parts of the New 52 that they did enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's understandable.
I'm too sure now. Can you see?
All right. What you got to share here?
Well,
Yes.
Yep. But it's like, it is a volume 1 module even just from here. And for all I can tell, this dude not even a ton of fun. It's one of the good shit I can use to by the way. Oh, by the way, that little girl was out of father time. Who's father time? Yeah. Oh, we care. That still of you that even I can explain them. Or see. It's complicated. But so what is like this is Mario working with a ton of fun. It's one of the good things I can use to get them for. Unfortunately, this book got canceled because Mario was sales. What is sad? You definitely I tend to fun with this series.
Yeah, I read the Agents of the Shade. I got every issue of the New 52 Frankenstein and the Agents of Shade. Just a couple of comments about it. I actually quite enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it was canceled. And also now with DC, with the event Leviathan, the organization known as Shade has been essentially dismantled. Along with every other intelligence agency on the planet. So,
except for
Bendis is, thank you, Bendis, for destroying yet another thing that was actually reasonably good for the DC universe. Thank you very much.
Show me. Thank you, Bendis, to destroy a good organization that they got monster hunting. Which I'm gonna read that book. But why you carry that book? The book that's in the front. If you get to this book. But no, we can't have nice thing. We have to blow everything up. And now the only two ways they go. Checkmate and Leviathan. Oh! Oh, sorry. You didn't.
No, I was just going to say that. So not only I want to build on something that Tehillim said as well, and branching off some of your comments, Tevya, and that is the world building that has been essentially destroyed here thanks to the direction that they have taken Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
Tomasi and Gleason, you're absolutely right when you say that the world building really started to take off and it really began here. The relationships between Maya, between Kathy, between John Kent, and the relationship with mom and dad, Lois, the formations and relationships that were formed in the town. And I mean, we live in an age of the internet. Lois Lane doesn't need to be a reporter working in the big city. She can still write a Pulitzer Prize winning book living on a farm out in Hamilton County. There's no reason why they had to move him back. And also, one thing that really disappoints me, one of the things that Tomasi did really well here is that he linked the evolution of John Kent's powers with his emotions. Yeah. And just think about this for a second. Now, all that storytelling potential is gone because now we are to believe, as Jonathan Kent is developing his emotions, and as he's evolving emotionally as a young boy, as a 10-year-old boy, suddenly he ends up thrown into space with his psychotic grandfather, Jor-El.
Mr. Oz.
He ends up being stranded in a volcano on Earth 3 with the crime syndicate Ultraman, mentally torturing him every day. You would think that would have some impact on Jonathan's emotions. But no, he still stayed a happy-go-lucky kid. And
which is bullshit.
It was absolute nonsense. And
what nonsense?
There was no natural development of that character at all, and it totally destroyed all of the natural evolution of character building that Tomasi and Gleason were working with. And it's absolutely horrifyingly tragic that all these great stories that we're reviewing now have been essentially rendered moot thanks to the atrocious direction that they've taken Jonathan Kent. Because make no mistake, the Super Sons, we love the Super Sons, but the Super Sons in the current DC universe, if the pandemic doesn't kill us all or kill the characters, Bendis already did by aging up Kent. Disastrous decision.
Yeah, and not to mention the follow-up will bring up the crime syndicate. The crime syndicate, I remember they should alcohol, the best medicine ever. Everything 80 total times. But back on track. But yeah, another one where the crime syndicate. The crime syndicate, they should be dead. We saw them goddamn Dark Side War. They should not exist in this main timeline. That makes no sense. And why did? Not to mention Ultraman torturing John and William to die. Okay, Ultraman is an asshole. We all know that. We named one, but Jesus Christ, having to torture by this son of a madman and have John be tortured alone in a volcano by himself with no help is insanity. Why are we having to continue to well? Scott, they got ate up for garbage for years on Earth. It would make no sense. Why are you trying Earth for years? You're trapped in a volcano alone by yourself. You should be scared. I am meant to be scarred. Like I was meant to be scarred. I was tortured by a tortured look at my dad, kind of, sort of, like and also you were hunted down by no mother. Technically speaking, Superwoman, who's also the husband of Ultraman. Except not really, because he hated Ultraman and what? And they were in a love triangle with Owlman. Okay, so Earth 3 is weird, confusing, and way too out there to explain that he's a non-DC fan. But so Earth 3 is basically the opposite of the hell. Good is bad, evil is good. It's complicated. And having John get trapped on that planet on that different is frustrating, yes, but to make it even worse, in general, like that. Oh yeah, he didn't need to start going. Oh yeah, that would have been worse. Like if that happened, I'd be more. Well, then again, Darkseid was a baby in his time, who then got turned into Odin to play out his daughter, which. Oh shit! I agree.
Too true, Edward. Too true. Though it would have made more sense than using who he did use.
Well, it could have been worse. They could have done this. Hang on.
Because at least they too would also be a part of the current continuity of what Ed Brewer is bringing up here.
Yep. Well,
Darkseid and Granny Goodness.
Yep. Well, speaking of this guy. Alright, can you see? Oh, on screen sharing. Can you see? Oh. Who this guy is? Harvest. Who is Harvest? Harvest is Super Kevin Scott with the Vanguard, and this guy kidnapped the son of Superman on the road to Negative 2, and he turned Superboy. Well, now Superboy didn't Superboy in the future. It's a long story. And long story short, this guy is the father of John Wayne Kent. Who's John Wayne Kent? A monster of bullshit. This kid is the son of Superman on the road to Negative 2. He turned into the son of a murderer. And it made no sense. It was so confusing that they had to retcon the style resistant, and it would have clucked up off. You gotta explain the story, it's so confusing. I can't explain it. Like,
Well, how about we start to make a move to the key important issues?
Yeah.
Especially for this stream.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are going to be issues 10 and 11, which brings us the trial, or which does bring us to the trial of the Super Son.
Yep.
And it starts off with In the Name of the Father, Part 1. Or In the Name... And this is where we get our first introduction with Damien, Maya, and John Kent meeting up with him. And I also enjoy something in this first issue addressing this, or in part 1 addressing this, is that Maya addresses Damien as a brother.
Yep.
And I really enjoy that. Even though she might not be in technicality a part of the Wayne family, but you know what? she loves him like family. And that is fantastic to see in that issue.
Yeah.
And it goes to show how the super family is evolving in the story.
Yeah. And
Not just with Batman and Superman, but also with their next gen being John Samuel Kent and Damian Wayne, plus Maya, and eventually anyone else who becomes a part of that family. And that is fantastic.
Wait, during Supergirl, she was born on the aftermath. Supergirl meet John. That's adorable.
Well,
Yeah. But we see John at the going to force, and he had the Superman outfit. That's adorable. Look at Speaker's Trump. It's you and me. The Superboy. Hey, that's so adorable.
It definitely had one of the best covers in it as well. Especially the main, not so much the variant, but it was one of the best covers in this.
I wanted the main cover, but I couldn't get it, so I ended up. They sold out of the main, so I had to get the variant, and I don't like the variant. I don't know why they bothered with this variant with the Superman and Batman on. It really is about,
My best judge is Johnny Simon the Batman Superman. Oh, that's it. Johnny Simon took John and Julian fighting underwater. And it's not very cover.
But this issue is what I like about this issue is that it starts off with Jonathan and Jonathan Kent and Kathy, on their way back from school, and Jonathan, he wants to take a shortcut through Dead Man's Swamp. I mean, it's actually called Dead Man's Swamp. And so Kathy very rightly says, I don't want to go through Dead Man's Swamp. I mean, why would you want to do that? So that was fun in and of itself. And I just found it hilarious that that was the case. And then Jonathan ends up going by himself. And then that's when, Damien's
Goliath with Maya.
And Maya's her character
I'm nobody. You're going to blow my cover again. North.
There were some real nice panels in it as well too. Throughout this. It wouldn't matter where you would go between these issues, between issues 10 and 11, you were sure to find a great panel practically anywhere on page. Like there's a panel there, as you look through it again, where you have Goliath catching not only Maya, but also John Kent in his arms and saving them. And it just continues and until eventually we're brought up to the Batcave and what happens there. And you also learn of like how smart Damian is with some of his disguises in this as well. I was your teacher. I was the bus driver. What? Like he's nailed that better than his old man.
Speaking about Clyde, I give you a John in free right there. I think I'm going to. I mean, use free right there on my and Clyde accent. It's actually funny, and glad I saved them.
This is the funniest issue out of. This is one of the funniest issues I've ever read for involving the Super Sons. When Damian initially, he really does not want to like John Kent.
Yeah.
Obviously, you get that tension there. Damien doesn't want to like John Kent. He's looking for a reason not to like him. And what he says, I mean, the dialogue here is hilarious. I mean, he says, Damien actually says to him, "You are a threat to every living thing on and off this planet, from desecrating my father's moon cave to torching Hamilton's countryside, slaughtering endangered hawks to incinerating domestic felines."
It's so good.
And then when John Kent tries to speak, Damien said, "Silence, heathen! The Justice League may have embraced you, but I will not. I haven't earned it." Oh, my heathen.
It's so funny.
Oh, man.
Robin.
This is great because, and then later on, Damien refers to Jonathan as an alien spawn.
Yeah.
When Batman shows up, he tells Batman, his dad, he says, "I was just assessing, whether the alien spawn's threat, what was the alien spawn's threat when he's absent from his father's restraint."
And Batman said, "Why?"
Unbelievable. Oh my God. And it's no wonder that Superman panicked and of course crashed into the cave looking for his son, because, Damien, what I like about this is that it portrayed Damien as you could tell Damien is still just 10 years old, but he's such a genius. He's still a threat.
Yeah.
Damien is still a very dangerous kid.
Yeah.
And you get a sense of how dangerous he is here, because even Superman realizes that and is quite upset with Batman initially. And Batman and Superman even argue a bit. Batman tells Superman to control his kid, and Superman tells Batman to sort of keep their little psycho under control too. So
Yeah.
it was I really loved the dialogue here. Was great. This had action, adventure, this had humor, this had comedy, this had emotion, this showed the power sets. He uses his cold breath for the first time. Jonathan Kent uses his cold breath for the first time in this issue. And this issue is in many ways, I think in the future it's going to be one of the very first. It's going to be a key issue because there's a lot of first appearances and key revelations in this issue.
Tony dealing with 13-year-old. Remember, he's 13, not 10.
Hey, good to see you, Maverick. Welcome to the stream. Glad you were able to make it. I hope you're doing well on your end.
Yep. He's telling you, Dave, I mean, yeah, he did it. Well, he's not 10 years old. He's 13 years old in the story.
Actually, I think this is more of a lead up to the Teen Titans, to where it's actually closer to Damien's 13th birthday, not actually 10. So, because you do see, when we do finally begin on the first line of the Super Sons, one of the things that Damien does address is that he's actually older than
John Kent.
Older than John.
Yeah.
And it's not about like who's older, who's taller, anything about that at all. But I do enjoy how after this issue, the next issue sort of takes off. You start to see what the parents' agenda is in this. And what's that? To quote Damien, worse, friends.
That's funny.
Like, something that he would not expect.
Yep. I get that way, and I didn't know when somebody does go and the Batman said like why? But human is fine even met before he's sickening victory out of her to the world. Imagine what if you wait. What are you talking about? I don't know. No, my dad would. Enough. We're super now, boy. What you got my son? I'm super cool staring down and you're going to do this and see what you get as a normal. But that's not funny. No, Well, David went to nobody before. He said, like, and I quote, I was looking at that. So what's that in common? Yeah, but then it shouldn't have to. We must enter. Okay, put him out funds and I take care of him. Then what? Go smart story that I mentioned. Keep working. And he said, "What done here?" And the future stands up and saying more fan pets. As you at the pen, they're in the cut and hurry. And they were caught by each other in the doorbell. Okay. And he said, "Uh-oh, there's a boot camp." And you go to boot camp. That's hilarious. So you didn't want to make more. Yeah, I did hear about that. And I'm hoping that this happened. Disney Plus is rocking content. I keep saying that. I keep saying, well, Disney Plus, it's good stuff, but they have no content with them, new content. Oh, wait. They have a new kind of Marvel anime show, Marvel Avengers anime, and it's weird. I tried watching anime, and I have no idea what's anime. I'm confused.
Well, let's stick back to focus on the issues.
Yeah.
10 and 11.
Yeah.
And like some of the things that you see in issue 10, especially, is that they slowly start to see that especially John starts to see that there are some things that he does actually have in common with Damien. And that's really good too. But also in this issue, which you see a bit of a lead up to, which will come into the Super Sons itself, is the different ideologies between Batman and Superman. Right?
Yep.
I think it stands out more in these two issues alone than the Super Sons series itself. Like, this is the great pinpoint to where we will see these ideologies between Damian Wayne and John Samuel Kent, Superboy and Robin, and how it will also play a bit of foreshadowing in the Super Sons run.
Yep, it's actually a great prequel to Super Sons. Like, both is a great prequel to Super Sons as a whole.
Yeah. And I think that's really well delivered by Tomasi and Gleason. Absolutely amazing. Now, when we finally move into issue 11, the trials that await them. Oh, the trials.
It's kind of fun.
It's the parental boot camp.
Yes.
After Superman destroyed the genetic drum issue 10, I think. When they destroyed genetic drum by accident. Is it? It's a boot camp. The chart we got a ton of it falling down. That's who it is.
Again, another incredible cover for issue 11.
Yep.
Especially the main.
Yep. I like this main cover.
Variant, just as good because it indicates what the situation is like within the comic.
John had the Superman symbol, Jimmy had the Batman symbol, which is adorable.
Well, I mean, the similarities between John Kent and Damian are apparent as this story moves along. They both have their own cow. They got the bat.
Yeah.
The only difference is that obviously the cow was different on the Lois and Clark's farm, and also Alfred the cat. The cat's name is Alfred in the Batcave, but on the farm on their farm, Jonathan Kent actually melted the cat with his heat vision because it was
That was cool.
So there's also I love the fact where there was a scene in issue 10 where nobody tries to get lunch. She's gonna go get lunch, and then John Kent says to her, "You better get some worms because this Robin has some growing to do." He insults the height of Damien, and Damien has never let him forget that because Damien has an inferiority complex about his height. He's very self-conscious about the fact that John Kent is taller than he is.
Yes.
He's actually smaller in stature. And that's something that really grates at him, and that sets the tone going into issue 11, where they have to become friends. Because going into issue 11, Damien does not like John. He doesn't.
Oh no!
No,
he doesn't want anything to do with him. He doesn't even want to work with him. He's
I can't fly. Come on, no, that's you guy running behind and fall. All right, you won't fall long. I didn't have any weight. No, you don't.
Well, you got to remember too that at the end of issue 10, John Kent punches Damien in the stomach because
that made me laugh. That was so worth it.
Wouldn't want you to make. Why wouldn't we wouldn't want you to make mommy cry again, would we? Punch John. I mean. And they get into a fight, and then of course Superman and Batman break it up, and then as punishment send them on this boot camp to try to get them to work together and work as a team. That's a really challenging thing to do, and even with the help of Maya, who's a nobody, and even with the help of Maya and Goliath, it's a very difficult thing to do. Oh, and ultimately, of course, they end up having to teach them that lesson back at the Batcave, where they fake some sort of
monster.
I'm not even sure exactly what it was, some sort of viral or some.
It's some kind of monster thing, kind of with all these Batman villains, like Clayface, Mr. Freeze, Joker, some other villain, Kill Clark. It was weird monster squid thing. Oh, speaking of Joker, I can remember in issue 10. Where Batman said, quote, "It's not 100% important over. There will no doubt be new pilot might be able to armor cut in nature. Back in our Arcadiana if prefer not it." But agree what he said, Superman, John could become more powerful than his father. Kind of mad John was going, but both DBZ and this series have a lot in common. They're kind of similar, because Joker has John with more power than his father. Kind of the same thing like John or the Superman. If you've seen Dragon Ball Z, you know what I'm referring to. Not many DVDs at me. Wait, what? When did they fight? When did that happen? I wonder if my Superman's in fighting. Wait, did anyone read that story? I never read Superman's in fighting.
But not only that, there were more incredible panels in these issues alone too.
Yeah.
Which really stood out. And again, it wouldn't matter where you picked it in the story. It was just incredibly done.
Yeah,
you could see the time, you could see the effort, you could even feel what the artist was putting in. Along with the story, and how you could feel the passion behind this story.
Yeah. Tomasi Patrick Green, Patrick Green draw the story, actually wrote the story next to Tomasi. You can tell both writer and even his own art, both do A+ effort in the story. And we see John actually getting Zipper is actually adorable. Here we go to Maya. It's so adorable. I gotta train the cats. Hey, we're gonna hold down to work. Look at it. It's so cute. It's such a great story. It's kind of fun. But a great prequel to Super Sons, in my opinion, as number 4, because this story does have Super Sons, and it's so John tried to do like stop Goliath and eat a fish. That's adorable. But the half both John didn't have to work together, they will hate each other, actually adorable. But then it's so cute. Like, that's why I love the story, because it's a great book of Super Sons, a great story for John Damian, and it's one of the best stories we had for the Superman fan years. And that's why I love Super Sons. I love Super Sons because of this story. This story sets up Super Sons in an organic way, not like forced. Unlike Bennett, who forfeited concept of bullshit, for example, Reviving, which, again, I keep bringing up other things I have to, but Bennett's Reviving was so forced. You're like, I don't give a damn about it. I mean, so boring. Like, who's reviving? You're reviving. I'm right. And then you do it. I'm reviving. Who's Manhunter? I don't care about Manhunter. He's so boring. Why should anyone give a damn about him? No one does. Mark Shaw? Who's Mark Shaw? Please explain this guy. I don't know who this guy is. And the point of Reviving trying with the kidnap John. Okay, Reviving. Why did you kidnap John when you turned the door and not like Mr. If Bennett had John leave Mr. Oz, why did he have John but he go back to Earth when he turned the door and then get kidnapped by Reviving? Oh my god, I can't bear a story for Reviving. The search for John Kent. Have John get kidnapped by Reviving and okay, I know I've been at Twitter, but no Reviving, he bought Twitter John as a weapon. But it would have been something that would have been interesting. Would have been sad depressing. Probably. Would have been an interesting story. Dark. But at least something to work with. Instead of who the super is going to have right now. But the point is, this story is a great story in my opinion and tons of fun. And the ending is great as well when you see John even kind of get a tree. But Damon Johnny stuff that Ranger, it's so funny.
Yeah, I love the ending myself. I love looking at the Christmas trees. That was a nice ending.
Yeah.
Again, the whole what makes this series of stories so special is that I really think that they missed out on something about abandoning the Hamilton County as the place where Lois and Clark live. I think that was a big mistake moving away from that. And of course, aging up John Kent was a huge mistake. Huge mistake.
With the finding on the carbon.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much more to explore about the relationship between John Kent and his parents. Forget about Damien and Maya and Nobody and everybody else. Those are all great characters, and we're deprived of that as well. But we're completely deprived of any sort of evolution or growth between John and his parents, and we're still deprived of it, even with John Kent being aged up. He's in the 31st century. So Bendis is somebody who clearly, for somebody who is a family man, I know Bendis in real life is somebody who's a great father. He's adopted a lot of kids. He's a nice guy in real life. He's a wonderful father from all accounts. He's liked by all the people in the industry. But I just don't know why he seems to draw the Superman. He seems to write the Superman family as really the worst family imaginable. Lois is a bitch. Superman is a moron.
And John is gone.
It's nothing to do with his parents. He's in the 31st century. His parents don't care that he's gone. They don't care that he's not around.
Yeah.
It really leaves a very, very disappointing taste in my mouth. It's really disgraceful in terms of what's happened to John Kent and the entire Super Sons.
It is disgraceful. And to make it even worse, Cappy is gone. We don't know what I see it. That broke me because, are you fucking kidding me? You're telling me that John, who wrote with a suck up Mr. Oz, who shouldn't even exist, who should be living in the Dark Manhattan, came back from the Earth 3 with mental scars, it's another problem I have with that story the whole. Came back from the but not go at the Cappy, his friend, a girlfriend left for beard, and I left for bullshit. Why? For the Legion? That makes no sense. It's both by the left kind of crap.
Well, we're slowly approaching the end of the stream. But if it's one thing that I really like, especially in issue 11, and Tevya, you might be able to find it, and it's got Alfred saying, "You are our Super Sons." If you can find that page. Actually, even yep, you've been beaten to it. That is one incredible page.
Yeah,
It stands out in volumes. And yes, out of it, we did get a number of volumes of the Super Sons.
Yep.
And that's why next week we'll be starting on the first volume, or the first issues that make up volume 1 of the Super Sons, which is When I Grow Up.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Huh? Oh.
We still got a little bit of time left, so
Yeah. But like I said, I love this page. This page might be amazing. As you see, yeah.
I really loved and enjoyed the covers that are connected to these stories.
Yeah.
Some of them are a straight 10 out of 10 because of how they bring across. It could be Superboy with his father, which is fantastic, or something family related, fantastic.
Yep.
Another thing too is a lot of incredible panels within the stories.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter if you were to say go to the Hamilton Fair story. It was really nice to see more world building around the area of Hamilton, which Peter J. Tomasi and Gleason put in. Then we move into 8 and 9, which we get a little bit more world building as to what's happening with, for starts, let's not forget this, they were in the fortress of Attitude. We're not quite up to the fortress of Attitude yet, but we're getting there.
What did that need to do with the Superman fortress of Attitude? Remember, Superman's so dead. Well, kind of. That's the only new Superman.
But it's the beginnings and leadings up to the fortress of Attitude.
It's kind of fun.
And I love that John Kent named it that. It's the perfect thing that suits him.
Indeed.
And also action detectives.
Action detectives is such a great story.
Which is a part of the adventures of the Super Sons story. And that is fantastic.
I love that series. And I for DC Zoom or DC Ink or whatever. That Super Sons. I tried the first 2 volumes. They were not that great. Which I will review the book eventually. I do own it on Disney on Hoopla. But oh boy, trying to read the book is a mind-builder BS. Speaking of bad books, Gotham High. Gotham High is somehow even worse. I know read that book, but I didn't sure of it, and it was bad. What the hell is DC thinking with that title? I know it's an outdoor story, but it was like Twilight fan fiction. Both Batman. First off, why? Why? Third up, huh? Well, who came up with this crap? Have you heard of Gotham High? Gotham?
I've not read Gotham High, but I prefer Gotham Academy. In fact, Gotham Academy has a better story outline than what I've seen in regards to Gotham High. Yeah. Not only that, it's also done by Becky Cloonan, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And in it, you see the appearance of Damian Wayne, also Bruce Wayne. You have the appearance of Batman in it. Of course, it falls with the Robin War and the We Are Robin story.
Yeah.
But that's neither here or there. But you do actually get a really nice story in there. Yes, it's classed as a part of the New 52, but of the interaction you see with Damien and some of the classmates that are in Gotham Academy, it might be short-lived, but it's still enjoyable.
Gotham Academy, I would really love this shit to come back. Only for one thing only. Super Set to call the Gotham Academy. I love that story. Why did we not get that story? I love that concept.
I didn't mind Gotham Academy. It wasn't bad, although it wasn't really my cup of tea. It was only because I think that the strength of Super Sons is yet to be explored. I think that what attracted me to Super Sons and what I liked about it was the friendship between Damian and John Kent, and the fact that both of them have a lot of growing up to do because they're young and they're learning the hard way, they're learning the ropes, and we've been deprived of that. And it was something that was missing in the DC universe. And guess what? We don't have that in the DC universe anymore. Young Justice is appallingly bad. It's a story about a bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds, 16 and 17-year-olds. It's got no character development at all. Bendis is just puking things on the page. He's got no idea who the characters are, where he's going, what he's doing. The stories, there's way too many
story all over the place.
There's too many characters, and they're not well developed, and they're just thoroughly uninteresting.
Yeah.
And they don't need. John Kent, he needs to be a character that's developed when he's still young. He needs to be organically developed, not thrown into the 31st century. He needs to be able to develop organically, and he can't do that. He can't do that where he is right now in the 31st century, and it's just not working.
When they made it even worse, and they took away one of the best moments in Super Time, but when they went to school, it took all that stuff in when John didn't go to school. One of the best issues in Super Sam, all the favorite issues, two my favorite issues, is that when they go to school, that was adorable. That was awesome. That was a great story, right? That John didn't go to the same school. That was tons of fun. That was hard, and so that really someone focused for the future. But no, we're not going to get that. Instead, we have John in the place for something was a bad idea from day one. Now you're good. That's going to get this book. It's a mess. What the fuck? I mean, you have Sideways. What's Sideways? Sideways is bookended. He's flipping hell. I mean, you said, what about the crewmaster? Also, when they said, crewmaster died. It's not eternal. Did Ben have that book? I guess it's not a rebound eternal, but what? And then Drake, Robin. You took James Tennant and Hollywood the victim Jane, and I made a Drake? Why? I then put it Amethyst. Amethyst. I don't hate that character. I just the data department. It's just her story. I don't give a damn for Amethyst. She was cool in New 52, but maybe because story I think was good, but then it kind of getting dark. And then that book went to shit. But then she came and featured then was bad. Then she came back now and Bendis stuff with 100% because wait. Is it all if someone was rebooted? If someone was rebooted in the 2, why can't it get Jimbo? That makes no sense. I'm confused. I'm back. The Connie is a mess. Oh, trying to pick up all these books is another. One for Hero was good. Night the Hero, also good. But that's only one of the comic books out of one bad one. Which is also bad because you and the Night of the Hero, the great series. One of the twins. I didn't in that book. I tried. I heard that. I just couldn't do it. It not look into me. But then trying to connect those books into Young Justice is also a mess because you have to make them in their continuity. Oh, my brain trying to get the continuity is a nightmare. Like, this is why I'm Tomasi. Tomasi understood continuity. He get continuity and made sense. Bendis, not so much. He just pulled everything out the window. And now we lost Super Sun, we lost some advantage of crap.
Yes, it is sad that we've lost them, but you know, it's a great thing that we can always come back to these back issues that you're seeing too. And at least we can come back, reflect on how good their stories are. Hey, it might also encourage someone to go out and purchase them. And if they do that, fantastic. They get to enjoy the same stories that we do.
Maybe this is so great. It'll open the door for DC to do. We effed up a hiring business. I don't know what bring back to Marty and Benjamin to restaurant open and start having business. We just drop it. We need someone to let content guys or John back. Albertina John Kent. He can go away for all I care. Please make it crazy evidence flashpoint all stars man that's out of continuity. But anyway, that's in continuity great story. Kingdom Come is good. It's an outdoor story, but DC kind of all the Superman better than it's a great story. Super Sons.
Well, you'll enjoy next week's stream, Michael Brent, because we've got plans to cover Volume 1 of the Super Sons. So feel free to join us in the text. We look forward to all who do join.
Yep.
And we might as well begin to finish off.
Yeah.
Comic Room, would you like to start off and maybe inform those who are watching of maybe some that you could have coming up in the next couple of days and that you have going on your channel?
Yeah, I'll probably be doing a review of Dottie Kate's God's Country in the next few days. I'll be putting that up. I got a couple of live streams I'll be doing with Dark Knight Nation and Joe's Geek Show, probably Saturday and Sunday. The topics, they're going to be varied. We're still working on that. What do you do when you're in a pandemic and it's Easter holidays and you can't really visit family, but so you stay cooped up and you enjoy your YouTube friends, just like we're doing. So, anyways, that's what I got going, and I just want to thank you, Tillium, thank Tevya again for having me on your, inviting me to be on this Fortress of Attitude, and I don't think I think between Tevya and I and you, Tillium, I think we have enough attitude for a lot of people.
Yep.
And Tevya, would you like to share what's happening on your channel at the moment, or what you're preparing to do in the next couple of days?
Yeah, this Saturday I'm doing my own live stream on the comic industry. On the state of comic industry right now, thanks to the pandemic, and if it will survive. Because, thanks to this COVID, a lot of stuff happening. Diamond goes down to get up BS reasons, and that ain't my doing. So, because I keep losing that Diamond having a monopoly of the commentary was always up front like different day one. And guess what? When they go down the commentary, I'm clapping it. So, and that could be an interesting topic that was on the live stream. I'm also doing a playthrough of episode 5 on my channel. Yeah, this game, I love episode 5. It's such a great game, and I got Wisdom Warrior in the mail. This game is awesome. It's all episode up. Or for another live stream in this game. So stay with that. I'm also planning to do some major project reviews. Maybe I'll probably do a retrospective Super Set maybe if I can. Maybe technically I review episode anyway, so maybe I'll do a topic video why Super very important and why I decide what I need for DC Comics. Because this one is similar to my mistake. So maybe I'll do a topic video on why Superman was important with DC before that got destroyed. Other than that, I find the other on my channel. Honestly, I don't know what other I'm gonna do. Maybe I might do not put it through on Bomb Mansion maybe if I get that game. Who knows? I gotta be seeing. But anytime I on the channel, it's great. We're at the memory lane. I can't wait to read more Super Sense after the Volume 1.
And I'd like to give a big thanks to all the viewers and all who managed to make it here. Again, a secondary big thanks to the creators who played a part to the creation of the stories that we read through on the channel, being Tomasi, Gleason. I'm glad we've got creators like you out there, or else we wouldn't be able to read and enjoy the content and also share it with others. And that's fantastic. Don't forget, if you're able to help your local comic store in this time, do so. I know from my own local comic store that I've had to arrange to get some things posted out to me. So I know I'll be expecting some trades to turn up next week sometime, so that'll be good. As well as some manga, but that's neither here or there. Really looking forward to the next stream because finally we make a start on the Super Sons. Yay! And we'll probably set it up for around the same time. Same bat channel. And we look forward to sharing the wonderful Super Sons that have their awesome Fortress of Attitude.
Yep.
Until then, take care, stay safe,
You too.
and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.